Alright, this is a fun one, and it's been sitting waiting to be edited since in the middle of February, actually probably closer to the beginning of February. And it was based on something that I'd seen another team trying to do. And I don't have the clip that actually showed the team that I saw this on, but they had something like Gelada at the front with Mushroom, and then they had Seagull as well. And obviously they wanted the Gelada ability to go off multiple times every time it came back. Unfortunately, that is not what happens, because as soon as the Gelada turns into a sleeping Gelada, if it has a mushroom, it's going to come back as a sleeping Gelada and not a regular one. So you don't actually get the ability a second time. If that sounds a bit too complicated, don't worry, you'll see how this works later on. But I wanted to take this concept and actually try and build a team around it. And so in order to make this work, what we're going to do is use Pheasant and Seagull in the same team. Now generally that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because usually you don't want to give a summoned unit two different perks. But that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to give the unit Strawberry and then also something else from the Seagull. It has to be a different perk from Strawberry, otherwise it won't. The Seagull won't give anything. But a decent start here with a bunch of pheasants. I think, in fact, we're going to get to level 3. Now, although it's not possible to use Mushroom with a Gelada coming out of a Beluga, if I haven't already mentioned that, that's what we're going to do. We can actually use Popcorn. So Popcorn gives us a 1 in 10 chance that the unit that comes back will be another Gelada, because the Sleeping Gelada token is currently at tier 4. Again, don't worry too much if this sounds complicated, we'll see it in action in a minute. I don't actually remember if this particular run has any popcorn spawns that actually turn out to be Geladas. I did have a couple of games where I ended up getting 2 or 3 of them in a row, which was very satisfying, but of course those games ended up losing way too early. So I'm going to keep the Stoat here just in case we manage to sell into a Seagull. And because of the nature of a lot of the food pets or the corncob pets, Seagull and Pheasant are just super strong in customs, because you can use the free perks to activate the otherwise quite expensive abilities. And since we already have the level 3 Pheasant, we're not too worried about wasting occasional strawberries on other buy sells or units that are summoned from Stoat, like the clownfish is here. I'm going to take the lobster because we know we're pivoting almost our entire team here, other than the pheasant. And then we'll go for another lobster. I do also have Water of Youth, so I could transform the lobster into something else once we get it leveled up. Should be alright here, I think. Big unit with garlic still does incredible amounts of work, even though this run is 4 or 5 weeks old at this point. So I think I'm going to take the lobster level up here and hope for Beluga. Okay, maybe not. I guess we're going to go for the Seagull. So we'll take rice initially, and then we'll look for the popcorn later on. And we might as well take Drop Bear, since it's probably the best option available. I don't necessarily like taking Badger at this stage of the game, because the matchmaking is a nasty habit of immediately making me play against a crocodile team as soon as I put dangerous or valuable units in the back line. So level up the Seagull. Okay, now we can see the power of this combination of the 2 perks. So the strawberry goes first, it gets replaced by the rice from the Seagull, gives us a level up. Then we can actually take another one from the lobster, and then we're going to use our alpaca plus real velo, because we can also use real velociraptor to make sure that the Seagull doesn't lose its perk, which is the most important part of the whole process. It's just going to fall apart. The team's just not going to work if the Seagull ends up getting an ailment. The pheasant will still work, just the Seagull won't, and we need 2. And you can't use 2 pheasants, because then that would be 2 two strawberries, and one strawberry won't overwrite the other strawberry. This is one of those videos where I feel like I'm really struggling to explain things, but you'll see this working in a second. We just need to find a beluga whale as well. Now, I would like the stats from the lobster onto the vulture here, but instead I think I'm just going to take the experience and then the potato, and we can use the Gelada cycling with the double perk to give our vulture more of a chance of surviving. And a chocolate as well, which is great, and there is the beluga. Now, one of the difficulties with this setup is that when you buy the beluga, it's going to get 2 perks. So it's going to swallow the 2 leftmost units in the shop. So that means if you find the unit that you want to swallow, which in this case is the Gelada, you need it to be in the second slot in the shop, or you can just buy the beluga now and then keep the chocolate frozen. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. You'll see here that the beluga swallows 2 units, and the second unit is the one that's actually going to come out of the beluga. The first one just gets overwritten. I definitely made a fair few mistakes when I was going for this, where I bought the beluga thinking it was about to swallow the Gelada, and it was in the leftmost shop slot. So yeah. By the end of this process, I'd played so many games that I was starting to get used to it, even though it was a bit unusual. So we get level 3 vulture by turn 12, which is incredibly good. And now we're rolling down looking for, what do we need? We just need the Gelada to go inside the beluga. This looks pretty solid. 1 big unit plus lioness. And I think the damage from the vulture, even though it does hit the porcupine there, is going to be enough to seal the deal. And actually the real fellow gives the potato back once it runs out of triggers. So now we're actually on 9 wins, which ideally I would have had this going much sooner, because we also need to find popcorn still. So I think, okay, we find the popcorn. We didn't find the Gelada. So I guess we're just going to press end turn and assume that we're going to lose. And then look at this team. Double Stego plus double Nyala. We did actually get a food activation from the quail chick, and that was something I was trying to record earlier today with not much success. I think things are a little bit harder in Arena at the moment than they were in the middle of February, and luckily it's a draw, so we still get the chance to see this combo actually work. We just need to find the Gelada, and there it is. I shouldn't really have bought the seagull there because we just wasted the opportunity to find the Gelada in the first place. And then hopefully we're going to draw again while simultaneously seeing the combo work. Now you can see it working. They get the sleeping Gelada. It actually turns into another sleeping Gelada. So even though we only had 1 rep from the loop, we got the combo that we wanted. And I think here, is this going to be a tie? No, because the lemon gets broken by the vulture and we end up winning, even though we only had the combo going for 1 turn. Alright, since this was a short run and I didn't realise that there was only 1 round where the combo actually went off, I've gone back to the vault and dug up some more clips showing this in action. So this time around, we've got Grizzly instead of Vulture. I was trying to alternate and just keep things interesting for myself. Okay, we're going to rearrange here after taking Yggdrasil Fruit on the Seagull. I guess maybe I don't have the Gelada yet. We'll soon find out. Or maybe I just made a mistake, because obviously if the pheasant is behind the beluga, it's not going to work. Yeah, okay, I just made a mistake there. But we do actually get a ton of summons from the Yggdrasil Fruit being applied to the goats themselves, which I think is kind of unusual. Almost like tardigrade, I guess, in a sense, where you've got the goats summoning more goats. So now I correct the mistake, and now we can replace the Yggdrasil Fruit with popcorn. Level 2 Grizzly is going to be a massive upgrade here. And I think at this point I was probably quite desperate, so I was going for weakness from the puppy toy. in order to give myself a better chance of actually winning. I think this team looks definitely beatable. We don't get any loops from the Gelada. But yeah, definitely the Grizzly's going to do enough damage at the very end, I think. Oh, we actually get Blowfish again. I think we had a decent number of Blowfish summons in that particular round. So now we can change things up. Yeah, put the puppy to the back. And we'll freeze the chocolate, because we also have the waffle. And then as soon as you see this team, you know it's going to be a very long battle, because every summon is going to hit this piranha for more hurt triggers. We get another Blowfish, which I think did 1 damage to the eel with garlic there. Good snipes from the Grizzly, but that's an awful lot of health, and they have garlic still. Eel is such a bizarre unit. I don't know why it's a tier 3. That's a level 1 eel, by the way, on turn 14. Pretty ridiculous. So we'll use the chocolate on the puppy, which maybe isn't that common, but when it gives us triple toilet paper, it's definitely worth it. And we might as well take another popcorn on the puppy too. I'm just going to keep it on the team in case I need to refresh the toy. And unfortunately here we face an infected player, and the Beluga gets turned into a rock because the abomination has swallowed, what's the unit called? Basilisk. But actually, the activation of the evil book hurts the gorilla in the back and wastes the coconut. So that worked out pretty well. Anytime I got to this position, I was starting to panic because it just felt unreal that my team was still being able to win against all these crazy opponents. And I think, okay, we don't get a Gelada loop here. We do also get, if you get Locust, it does also trigger another Locust spawn. Although it doesn't really benefit us too much in that situation. And is this going to be a tie, or are we going to lose? Yeah, I think it depended on what we got from the spawn there in the popcorn. If it had been something else, like a summoning unit, we would have won, but unfortunately it was Foo Dog. And then here we go, this is the clip I was talking about earlier. Another team with basically 50-50 doggo, but we get Gelada into Gelada into Gelada. So that was the absolute dream scenario. Unfortunately it wasn't 4, but I think you could play for a very long time and not get 4 Geladas in a row from this combo. But clearly we're never going to beat this team. With kind of a strange squad, to be honest, because it's triple trumpet generator with the bat, the guinea fowl, and the Highland cow, was it? Or maybe it was Nyala. I don't know, but yeah, we had no chance. Still incredibly fun to see the combo work 3 times in one battle, though.